the importance of having a concentrated intellect, that which is absolutely tuned into Baba. And Baba says that I am sending Sakash to you all the time. I am sending my light and might to you all the time. And I was just thinking, what is my experience about Baba's Sakash? And you see that as far as my personal experience goes, whenever I sit with absolute, concentrated Buddhi Yoga with Baba, I can feel Baba's love. I can feel Baba's inspiration. I can feel Baba's power. I can feel Baba's strength. So Baba gives me the 8 powers. Baba gives me strength. Baba gives me inspiration. Also gives me a lot of love. And I also feel that when I sit with intellect connected with Baba, there's a lot of touching about which way to go, what to do. But Baba says that I'm sending all this to you all the time. And why don't we receive it? Because our intellects are wandering. Our intellects are consumed and absorbed in many things. And it is a sanskar that we have created in the last 2500 years. The sanskar of having a wandering intellect. And what does our intellect wander in? So you see that our intellect is mostly wandering into affairs and things that we have no control over. Yes, all the time. So there is this one Kanya, and she was in the center for 4 or 5 hours for seva. And she had some issue going on in her, so some kind of a obstacle in her life. And then what she would do is, every 15 minutes she would come up and tell me, Didi, I want to talk to you about something. And then she would again start about that issue. And then I told her, how much thinking are you doing about it? So I said, you thought about it, now let go. Now when you go back, then you act on whatever you thought. Don't keep thinking about, So related to that issue, she would ask me, so Didi, if I approach this person, would they help me? Didi, if I did this, will it work out? So I said, how do I know whether it will work out or not? Whether they'll help or not? So don't go into these thoughts about, the future, about how it will work out or how somebody will help or not help, or don't anticipate the future. Just keep your intellect, at peace. And then she would say, no, but it's wandering and I can't control it. It's not at peace. So every time I sit, I start thinking about what will happen, and if I did this, then the next scene will be like this, and then how will I respond, and this and that. So why do we keep doing this? We keep doing this, yes. Why? Because that's a sanskar that we have created. And even, absorbing our intellect in everything that you come across. So let's say that you're talking to somebody, then you don't have to absorb your intellect in it. What do I mean by allowing your intellect to absorb in it? What happens is, when you're talking to somebody, you are so tuned into their emotions and the place they are coming from and what they are saying and what is their intention, what do they want, and all of that stuff, that even after they leave, you're still thinking about them and you're still analyzing what they said, or you're still, if they shared a concern with you, you're still affected by it, or you're still thinking about it, or if they were very sad or very stressed, you have also been stressed and sad after they left. So this is allowing our intellect to get absorbed in a situation. Even if there is a situation that you're coming across, don't allow your intellect to get absorbed in it. Don't have that, don't think about it so deeply and from the heart. Don't entangle your emotions in it in such a manner. So let's say when there is a situation and you start creating fearful thoughts in that situation, or you start creating thoughts about why and how, and or you start thinking about how wrong somebody is, or you start taking sorrow in that situation. In all of these cases, your intellect has got absorbed in it. And then you say these traces, these residues keep lingering on your intellect. And if we children are in such habits, we have not overcome these habits of the intellect. So just like, we have habits of the mind, we also have habits of the intellect. So you see, whatever you hear, whatever you come across, you just consume it totally and then it starts consuming you. If that is the practice you have engaged in for very long and that's your habit, then what happens is your intellect cannot be free to take Sakash from Baba. But if you practice enough to keep your intellect free, so you understand that, and Gyan helps you do this. So in respect of every scene of the drama, what do you hold in your awareness? This is just a scene in the drama, and whatever the outcome doesn't really matter. Yes, so sometimes, you get so attached to a scene and you get so attached to the outcome of that scene. So, there's this one brother and he said that everybody was having cold and cough in the office, and I was so tense that I shouldn't catch cough. And I got so attached to that idea that I shouldn't catch cough, that I was only thinking about who is coughing and how close I am to them, and whether those whether I'll get affected or not, and I was only seeing that. So you see that then, and I told him that, don't get attached to any outcome like that. Don't think about, I should be in this scene but not have this, or I should have this. So you do your best, but don't get attached to any scene or any outcome. Even if that scene has a certain vibration, that's a stressful scene, fearful scene, sorrowful scene in the drama. So let's say there is a threat you're receiving about something, or there is something that you anticipate in the future which could result in damage of property or in damage of something else. But don't get absorbed in that scene, in the sense, don't suck up those emotions. Don't take those emotions and fill your heart with it. So Baba has given us the knowledge of the drama, and Baba has told us that you have to always be present in every scene whether it involves the 5 elements of nature alone or it involves souls who are playing their roles. But in every scene, just remain detached. And when you remain detached and you remain an observer and you are responding, but from a place of a detached observer. So you see, you have a very objective view in it. You are not absorbed or affected, but you are responding to it from a very objective perspective. Let me give you a simple example. There is a brother and he has some physical ailment, and for that he has to visit the doctor every 15 days. So he goes to the doctor, he takes an appointment every 15 days, he goes to the doctor, comes back. Until he goes, he does all his seva. After he comes back, he does his seva. And while he is on commute, while he is seeing the doctor, he is doing mansa seva. So I asked him, this is kind of a permanent ailment that you have. So does it not affect you? So he said, no, even if it affects me, can I help it? Even if I fret and frown about it, it's not going to change, right? It is there in the drama. So I don't think about this. I only think about what I have to do about this. So I do that, and that's the most I can do. So I don't think much, and I just do the stuff that I'm here to do. And in the Murli also today, Baba said that you are here to create your fortune or make your effort. And that is something that we have to understand, that everything that's happening, every scene that's happening, every behavior that's happening, what is the life of that scene? 1 second, and then it goes into the past. And then again a new second comes up. And this is the way everything that you're thinking about and that you're absorbing your intellect in is just a fleeting scene in the drama. And it is going to change. Whether you like the outcome, not like the outcome, it is going to have the outcome that is predestined. And every scene is going to change the way it is predestined in the drama. So what you have to do is you have to keep responding also, because that's a karmic settlement. So a karmic settlement won't go away without responding to it. So you respond to it, but stay very detached. Your attitude has to be that of a detached observer who is completely not affected emotionally or not thinking too much about that scene. And when you practice this, and even the foundation of even this practice is what? Soul consciousness. That ultimately I am a soul and my purpose is to pay attention to how I go back. Yes, not when I go back, not whom I go back with, not what I have when I go back, but only how I go back in terms of what is the residue of karma and sanskars that I carry with me. So when you hold all the gyan in your awareness and you behave knowledgefully, then your intellect is always less absorbed in the outside. And then you have to practice to keep tuning your intellect to Baba. And whenever you're practicing, just be soul conscious, pull your intellect from the outside and just tune into Baba. And when you keep practicing this, then you will, in this practice, slowly, gradually, you will come to a stage where you start feeling that deep connection, where that energy exchange happens, and you start receiving Baba's acute love, strength, inspiration, and all the stuff that Baba is giving you. You start receiving Baba's guidance. You start feeling that, yes, you and Baba are doing everything together. And Baba says, that's my Sakash. And I'm always giving it. But you have to practice to be soul conscious and remember me. And you have to practice to not allow your intellect to be absorbed in anything. And I remember, there was this one sister. She was a senior sister, and she paid very good attention to listening less, talking less. And I remember, when I saw somebody who was sharing some concern with her, and they were going into a lot of detail. And very politely, what she would do is, after every detail, she would just sum up. So, तो आप ये कहना चाहते हैं. So she would just say this, and she would just sum up that detail into one simple sentence, and then she would just eliminate all the waste, and then she would give a solution, and she would say, do this and this will help you. And I saw that she paid a lot of attention to listening less and talking less. And even if somebody wanted to talk a lot, they are full of some emotion and they want to share a lot, she wouldn't encourage a lot of expansion. And that was something very beautiful which I learned from her early on. And every time, she would be free from seva, because obviously sisters have a lot of seva. So every time she would be free from seva, she would just choose to be in silence and remember Baba. And that sister, if you ask me, she was not very educated from a worldly point of view or very experienced from a worldly point of view, but I saw her take very accurate and good decisions all the time. And she was very wise and she would take very good decisions. And because I was very early in Gyan and I did not understand the whole process, so I would always wonder that she has so less education, so less experience, because she never lived in a big family, or she never went to office, or she never went to a college or a university. She had very less exposure to people, and she had very less exposure to difficult situations in life. But she could understand every situation and respond very accurately to it. And one day I was just sitting with her and I asked her, what do you do? Like, how do you deal with a situation? How do you decide what to do in a situation? And she said, I rely on Baba's Sakash. So I said, but okay, Sakash was, until then it was just a theory for me. So I said, okay, everybody is relying on Baba's Sakash, but what extra are you doing? So she said, no, I am really relying on Baba's Sakash because I keep my Buddhi Yoga tuned to Baba. I'm not talking about, that touching which comes from your ego, but you say that, this Baba gave me. No, I'm really relying on Baba's Sakash because I have nobody else other than Baba. She said, I have you can say, this is the most fortunate thing in my life that I have nothing else to fall back on. That, and she herself said, I don't have any worldly experience or, education or something which I can fall back on, or I don't have many people who I talk to. So obviously I have only Baba. So I build a relationship with Baba so strong all the time that whenever I have to think about or decide about the smallest or the biggest things, Baba directly guides me. And this, when I heard, So obviously when I was very, very young into Gyan at that time, and I couldn't understand a lot of it, which I gradually understood. But at that point of time, I understood one thing, that you should have one Baba and none other, then Baba helps you beautifully. So then I started experimenting with that, because obviously when you have everything, then it's very difficult to be with one Baba and none other. But then slowly, gradually, I got an experience of what she did and how Baba gave her Sakash. So, this is something that Baba says. So, keep your receiver free so that you can receive Baba's signals. Baba says, I am giving it to you all the time, but you must keep your Buddhi Yoga free for me. And then Baba today says that you must have brotherly love for everybody. And Baba says that it shouldn't be that you have, some good feelings for somebody and not so good feelings for another person. And for every soul, you should have brotherly love. And this is very important, because when you don't have brotherly love, when you don't have soul consciousness, and then what you do is you start blocking your love, and you have other feelings and other thoughts about every soul you meet or every soul you interact with. And then what happens is, in that whole process, you are spoiling your state of mind, and you are getting entangled in the behaviors and actions of that soul. Yes, so, and in this Sangam Yuga, it is very important that we, Baba's children, keep our man and buddhi free. So it's very important that we have this practice of brotherly love. Brotherly love is where you unconditionally accept whatever sanskars or actions the other person has. Yes, so I remember, there was this one family, and in that family there was this one sister. So there were 5 sisters, and there was this one sister who had some issues with her brain, and she would engage in very abrupt behavior all the time, and she would speak something very very out of turn, or very abruptly she would break into a fight or break into a complaint very abruptly. And these 4 sisters, what they did is, whenever she would do that, they would just massage her shoulder or her back and tell her, calm down, calm down. And then they would go about their business. And it was very, very entertaining to watch because they were 5, and then one would be behaving so abruptly, and then all the 4 would never react to it. And she would also calm down in that process. And that's the love that Baba is talking about. So you don't judge anybody's behavior, you don't label anybody's behavior, you don't start having a reaction to anybody's behavior, even at the thought level or the emotion level. Because I think the first thing that happens is, we start having a reaction to a mental reaction in the mind to whatever the other person is saying or doing. But if you have this brotherly love where there is complete unconditional acceptance, you don't have an emotional reaction to whatever the other is doing or saying, or you don't get affected by it, or you don't waste your thought and intellect over it. And this is a very important practice to have in Sangam Yuga, because our mind and intellect has to be free from people so that we can focus on Baba. So Baba says, have this brotherly love where you are not judging or labeling anybody's behavior or words, and you don't say this is right, oh this is too much, or how can they, or how dare they, or don't they, this is so improper, or this is, this is very surprising how they can talk like this, or how they can behave like this. So don't judge or label anybody's behavior, anybody's words. Don't have an emotional reaction to anything, and just have this complete unconditional acceptance where you know that everybody is a brother soul and they have different sanskars, and you don't mind any sanskars of any soul, because they are anyways your brother souls. So when you come to this place, then your mind and intellect is very free, because we spend a lot of time judging, labeling, reacting to other people's, even if not physically. Most of the times you cannot react physically or verbally, you're not in that position, but you keep having a mental and emotional reaction to everything. And what that does is it's just draining us of our energy. So just accept everybody as they are, and that will keep your intellect and mind free, and you will be able to remember Baba. So it's very important to have this brotherly love for every soul. And personally, I have made it a practice to not label anybody's words or behavior. So never be shocked, surprised, or taken aback, or never have an emotional or mental reaction to anybody or anything. And there was this one, very intense behavior and personality that I saw in one soul. And I'll tell you my personal experience, that because I did not have an internal or external reaction to it, that's why we still get along. And she feels a lot of closeness to me, and I also feel that I should be, and I am being an instrument for of Baba to her. So although if I gave you the details, you would be very surprised about the behavior, but I never went into the too much thinking about how to label that behavior, or having a judgmental attitude towards whatever they are doing. And although some people told me that, Didi, you shouldn't take it so casually, and if you allow this, maybe, you will get in trouble sometime. But I said, it's okay, had my brother or sister been in the situation, we would deal with them also. So it's the same thing. So, if you do that, then they don't become a trouble for you, and you are able to do your work, focus on Baba. Otherwise, life is too short, at least in Sangam Yuga, to get entangled in the behaviors of souls. So this is something. And then Baba also today tells us that knowledge is the source of income. And Baba gives us the knowledge, and every piece of knowledge that Baba gives is what helps us do punya karma. So let's take the knowledge of the soul. So in the knowledge of the soul, Baba tells us that you, the soul, have a man and buddhi, and it is up to you to focus on something or withdraw your attention from something. It is on you to think about something or not think about it, because you, the soul, are the master of your man and buddhi. Or it is up to you to change your thoughts about something. And you see, until and unless you have this knowledge, can you really shift your karma from pap karma to punya karma? No, because you thought that, I at least I thought when I came into Gyan that if something is happening around me, how can I not focus on it? Or how can I not think about it? But Baba gives us these enormous tools and makes us understand that even if something is happening in that same body you're living in, it is up to you to focus on it or think about it or not think about it or how to think about it. And this is why Baba says knowledge is the source of income. So if we don't have the knowledge, how can we? So you see that until we keep thinking that I am a mother, father, brother, sister, or a spouse or a child, how can I withdraw my intellect from everything? But only when I know that I am a soul and I have nothing to do with anything and anyone around me. They are just co-actors and props. So when you start understanding this knowledge, then you can withdraw your intellect very easily from everyone and everything. So Baba says that knowledge is the source of income, and Baba gives us the knowledge about Baba, and Baba gives us the knowledge that we can tune into Baba with our Buddhi Yoga, and how we can draw light and might from Baba. And this is the biggest source of income that Baba teaches us, that just by tuning yourself mentally into Baba's form, into Baba's quality of being an ocean, you can also become the master ocean. And in today's Murli, it also came out very evidently that even when we are sitting for Murli class, we are listening to the Murli, it is very important that I, the soul, sit in the awareness that Shiv Baba is speaking. And my purpose is to become the master ocean of knowledge. So I listen to the every point in the Murli with full concentration and with full heart. And this is the biggest piece of knowledge Baba gives us, that you can tune into Baba as the ocean of knowledge, as the ocean of love, ocean of peace, and you can draw that same energy into yourself and become like Baba through this yoga. So Baba gives us the knowledge about Baba. Baba also gives us the knowledge about yoga. And then Baba gives us the knowledge about the drama. And you see that it is very important. So, when you join office, very new, when you are a new incumbent in the office, then you understand that the clock is so important, and you know when to unpack, you know when to pack, you know when it is time to leave, seeing the clock. And I remember that at 9 o'clock in the office, everybody has that attitude that we have to sit here and work all day. But when it is 5:30 in the evening, everybody is packing their bags and not listening to their colleagues and not even listening to their boss, and they are ready to go. So it's very important to understand the clock. And Baba says that now you understand that in this big unlimited clock of the drama, it is time to go back. And when you have this knowledge in your awareness, then your focus shifts. Automatically your intellect, which was so absorbed in the whereabouts and the hereabouts of this world, it starts getting detached from this world, and it starts focusing on going back and what we need in order to go back, and what we need to practice and do in order to go back. So Baba says that I give you the knowledge, and knowledge is the source of income, but any knowledge can become the source of income when it is imbibed. Yes, so not only by studying, But when you start thinking about these points and you start absorbing them, imbibing them, then knowledge becomes the source of income. Okay, Om Shanti.